Hello, I'm Eric Horwitz, and I'm an eight-figure entrepreneur, and I'm also a business consultant that helps companies scale from 7 to 8 figures. And in this video, it's a multi-part series explaining a key part of my life, which is I only run my business with 8 hours a month. And there's a very important system that I'm going to go over in a series of videos on how to do that, and then it'll have all the details so you can do the same. So a little bit about me and my company, because some people have asked. So my main company is called Lift Enrichment. We teach these healthy after-school summer camp programs to children, teaching them cooking classes. And we have scaled it dramatically over the last 15 years to teach 18,000 plus kids a week with a really nice team that does the majority of the work. But I'm going to tell you about the internal essence of the company. This is a service company. People hire us to do a task. So the first part is understanding the whole system. So the key is you have to have operations dialed in. Operations is just simply the delivery of the service. If business comes in from sales, you give it to operations, and operation goes, okay, I got this. I'm going to make sure everything happens on time. The accounts are managed, the instructors are hired, everyone's trained, and I'm going to troubleshoot all along the way, take care of all logistics, data, administrative, payroll, etc. So that's operations. That is the most important part, and it will actually be in the next video, the first part of this series, because nothing works if operations isn't running smoothly. And a key element of that is this question I ask my clients, my entrepreneur friends, and even potential clients, which is, if your company got $1 million in business, could they service all of it smoothly without you really involved? If the answer is no, you have a lot of work to do. But the real business that scale from 7 figures to 8, they have to have that dialed in. So operations can just, you go, hey, $1 million contract or several smaller contracts equaling $1 million, give it to them, they're good to go. The next key element is the sales department. Sales is managed by a sales director. That's not you or the entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs that have kind of hit that 7-figure mark, a lot of my friends, they're like, I got operations dialed in, but sales I don't. When I dig into the sales department, you find out there's no director, actual managerial director. They have maybe 1 or 2 sales reps. The processes aren't dialed in. The KPIs are not dialed in. And you're always going to be that sales director and sales manager role unless you get somebody else to do it. So now you have sales dialed in. Ops and sales. I would even add another one. There are some tangential elements like marketing. Marketing is going to help bring in the leads to sales. There's also going to be HR, because when you have a large internal team, especially when you're a service-based company, HR is its own thing, and you're going to have finance. So you have big operations bubble, sales bubble, finance, HR. Now guess what? You need to have a leadership team, the directors of all those areas, to have your weekly meetings with them, your monthly and your quarterly sessions just with the leadership team. The next step is the leadership team itself is run by you, the CEO, all right? So what do? You have your meetings with your head of all the departments, you do one-on-ones, and it all trickles from here to here to here. But that leadership team leader is typically me, the CEO of the company. But guess what? It's not, and it has been that way for many years. I have a president who is the leader of all those C-suite. We call it C-suite because it's classically what it's called. So you got the leadership person dialed in, and guess what? At this point, you, the entrepreneur, if you have that leadership team dialed in with somebody running it, you are now almost I would not call it a board of directors or higher level, but more like the classic visionary and integrator dynamic, where the visionary can kind of set the tone, the visionary can do the elements of planning ahead, visionary, forecasting, creating ideas, and then the execution happens below. But this does not happen unless you have somebody in that seat who does 80%, even 90% of the day-to-day things, which is what I have. So in the next series of videos, in this series about how to really delegate your entire company, which is possible, and I didn't think it was possible until I did it, and now that I've been doing it for years, I would never go back, because why? If I want to get involved, I can. If I want to dial into a certain department or fix something, I'm happy to do so. But it's much more fun living here in Dubai with this view and having my amazing team just run the engine of this company so well. So my pitch is this. if you are an entrepreneur, preferably service business, and you want to save 20 hours a week in just 90 days, you got to fix ops, sales, HR, or leadership. My consulting, which is called Win-Win with Eric Consulting, will help you do exactly that. That's my promise. 90 days, we're going to free up 20 hours a week, 80 plus hours a month, and you're going to get a ton of time back, a ton of money back, and then you're going to be happy and hire me again. That's the pitch. Winwinwitheric.com. See you in the next video.